What if I told you that the secret to living longer isn't about avoiding stress, but actually creating it? Stay with me here, because what I'm about to share completely flips the script on everything you think you know about stress and your health. Hey everyone, Side-Eye Dad here. Welcome back to the channel. You know, when most people hear the word stress, they think bad relationship, crushing deadlines, financial pressure, and that overwhelming job that keeps you up at night. And yeah, those are stressful. Those are chronic stressors. They are like absolutely detrimental to your health. But today, we're talking about a completely different type of stress, a kind that actually makes you stronger, helps you live longer, and literally tells your cells to renew themselves. I call these microstressor events. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly how to use them to activate longevity pathways in your body. And most people don't even know these exist. So let's dive in. So what exactly is a microstressor event? Think of it like this. You know how when you lift weights, you're actually creating tiny tears in your muscle fibers. And then your body goes to repair those muscle fibers, making them stronger than ever before. That's a microstressor event. It's a controlled, temporary challenge to your system that triggers your body's natural adaptive response. And here's the fascinating part. When you expose your body to these types of beneficial stress or microstressor event, you activate something called a sirtuin protein. Now, I know that sounds technical, but stay with me here because this is actually huge. Sirtuins in your body are like your internal maintenance crew. They're proteins that help repair damaged DNA. They regulate inflammation. They improve metabolism. They can increase NDA, and they literally slow down the aging process at a cellular level. Now, scientists have been studying these proteins for decades, and they've found that activating them is actually one of the key mechanisms behind longevity. The good news here, you don't need expensive supplements or complicated protocols, although I will say supplements such as resveratrol can activate sirtuin pathways, which is actually quite interesting, and I will likely do another video on that in the future. But you can trigger these pathways through 3 simple, accessible microstressor events that I'm about to walk you through. The first microstressor event is exercise, but not just any exercise. We're talking about resistance training, high intensity interval training, or jogging with varied intensity. Now, before my marathon runners in the audience come at me here, let's be clear. I'm not saying long distance running is bad for everyone, but here's what some of the research shows. When you run 4+ miles regularly, especially if you're already dealing with other life stressors, it can actually have some negative effects. It can be straining on your heart. It could beat up your joints over time. And here's the kicker. You can get the same caloric burn and activate those same longevity pathways in less time with resistance or HIIT training. And it's especially important if you're someone who's already stressed, already tired, and already dealing with hormonal issues. Now, I see this all the time. You have health conscious people who are committed to their fitness, doing CrossFit 5 days a week, running marathons, pushing themselves harder and harder, and they can't understand why they're exhausted, why they can't lose weight, why their body seems to be working against them. And it's because their body's in overdrive. They've crossed the line from beneficial microstress to chronic stress. And the key here is balance. So resistance training, HIIT, and even shorter jogs with varied intensity, I'd say less than 2 miles, create that perfect microstressor event. It's intense enough to trigger the adaptive response, but it's short enough that your body can recover and come back stronger. So think 20, 30-minute sessions, 3 to 5 times per week, quality over quantity. And obviously you want to mix these activities up. And if you haven't done anything yet, I wouldn't start with 5 days a week. Maybe you start with 2 days per week. And if you don't know where to start, check out my 30-day transformational program. I'll leave a link in the description below. Your body really needs the recovery time to benefit from the stress you're putting on it. So the second microstressor event is fasting. Now, I know fasting has become this buzzword in the health world, but here's the real science behind why it works as a longevity tool. And believe it or not, I'm actually fasting today. I use a 4-2-1 method, and I will do a deep dive on fasting in a separate video so you can understand exactly what that is. But when you fast, you're essentially creating a controlled nutritional stress on your body. And your body responds by activating those same sirtuin pathways, triggering cellular cleanup processes and improving metabolic efficiency. But here's what's important. Fasting actually looks different for men and women. So for men, the most accessible approach is the 16-8 method. And this is where you're fasting for 16 hours and eating within an 8-hour window each day. For example, you finish dinner at 8 p.m., you don't eat again until noon the next day. That's it. Simple. For women, the approach needs to be more nuanced. Because of the way the female hormones work, especially if you're in your reproductive years or you're dealing with any hormonal imbalances, you want to fast for 12 to 16 hours, but only 2 to 3 days per week. And this is crucial. Those fasting days should not be consecutive. You got to space them out. So think something like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that kind of pattern. And here's what you need to understand. If you're already stressed, if you're already dealing with adrenal fatigue, and if you already are pushing yourself with hard exercise, adding an aggressive fasting on top of that might not be a microstressor that your body needs right now. It actually might just be another stressor. So listen to your body. Start slowly. This isn't a race. The goal is hormetic stress. It's the perfect amount of challenge that makes you stronger, not chronic stress that actually breaks you down. The third microstressor is temperature therapy. So this is deliberate exposure to heat and cold. This one might sound intense, but it's actually the easiest to start implementing today. And here's what happens when you expose your body to temperature extremes. Your cells experience a controlled shock, and in response, they release heat or cold shock proteins, and you guessed it, those same sirtuin proteins that we've been talking about. So this triggers anti-inflammatory responses, it improves circulation, it boosts your immune system, and it activates those longevity pathways. Now the best part here, you don't need fancy equipment. Here are 3 practical ways to incorporate temperature stress. Option 1, the cold shower finish. At the end of your hot shower, turn it to cold for just 30 seconds. Ideally, you'd want to get up to 2 minutes, but that's really it to start, 30 seconds. Start there. As you adapt, you can work up to a minute or 2. Option 2 is sauna sessions. Now, if you have access to a sauna, 15-minute sessions are incredibly beneficial. The heat triggers a cascade of positive adaptations for your body. If you don't and you live in a place where it's really warm, go outside, but don't exercise. Just do a slow walk because you want your body to actually sweat without exerting energy. But that is another way to actually get this without actually having a sauna. Option 3 could be contrast therapy. This is an advanced version. This is going from a hot tub to a cold pool or a sauna to a cold shower. The rapid temperature change creates a powerful microstressor event. You might be thinking, this sounds uncomfortable. And yeah, it is a little bit, but that's exactly the point. Remember, comfort doesn't trigger adaptation, controlled discomfort does. And here's the thing, after a few weeks, your body adapts. What felt impossible at first becomes not easy exactly, but it's manageable. It's even energizing, I'd say. That's your body getting stronger, more resilient, more capable of handling stress in all areas of your life. Here's what I want you to understand. These microstressor events aren't just about living longer, though they absolutely will help you do that, they're about building resilience, creating a body that can adapt, that can handle whatever life throws at it, that gets stronger under pressure instead of breaking down. See, in our modern world, we've gotten really comfortable. Climate-controlled homes and offices, food available 24/7, minimal physical challenges, and our bodies have paid the price. We lost that edge, that adaptive capacity that our ancestors had built into their daily lives. These microstressor events, they're a way to reclaim that, to tell your body, hey, I need you to be strong. I need you to be resilient. I need you to adapt and improve. And your body listens. The key is to finding your balance. Not all of these things at maximum intensity all at once. That would just be chronic stress with a different name. So my advice is start with one, master it, then add another. So maybe you start with the cold shower finish, and then after a month, you add in a fasting day or two if you're feeling comfortable. After a few weeks, you adjust to your workout routine to focus more on resistance training. Or maybe you add in a HIIT, or maybe you do a shorter jog with higher intensity intervals. Small changes, consistent application, that's how you get powerful results. Remember, the goal isn't to stress yourself out. The goal is to challenge yourself strategically in ways that trigger your body's natural ability to adapt, renew, and strengthen itself at a cellular level. Microstressor events are working with your biology, not against it. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these microstressor events and commit to it for 30 days. Just one. Leave a comment below and tell me which one you're actually going to start with. Hold yourself accountable. And if you want to dive deeper into the science behind longevity pathways and optimal health, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got one more thing to share with you. Thanks for watching. Now go stress yourself in a good way. I'll see you in the next video.